so much of my identity was tied up in running. So it was like, once you remove that, it was this opportunity for me to really learn about who I was outside of running. Man, when you're 60, 70 miles into a 100 miler, like there's nothing that's going to teach you more about yourself than an experience like that.
But I'm curious, like how you balance that, like, and just like work a job, like have other hobbies, have a social life, and run like very serious mileage. You're in like 120 miles last week, I think, right? What's up, guys? Welcome back to my YouTube channel. I'm here in Minneapolis in the blizzard with my friend Rob Molke.
What's up, y'all?
I've been loving following Rob's journey lately. He's like, you're going all in on running right now. Like, just I've seen your mileage on Strava, just like didn't going up. Tell me more about like your running background and kind of what you're doing now.
Yeah, man, I've been a competitive runner my whole life. I ran track growing up, got into cross country, ran in high school, ran in college at Syracuse University. So no stranger to the snow here. But hopped into the road racing scene right after college, lived in New York City for a few years, ran semi-professionally there, ran a 63-minute half marathon and qualified for the Olympic trials in 2016. Moved here to run professionally. Did that for 2 years with a team called Minnesota Distance Elite, give them a follow. And took a couple of years off, was very mentally burnt out after that experience. I love that I got the opportunity, but just like needed a little bit of a break. And then 4 or 5 years later, I decided, felt like I was refreshed enough to jump into ultra running. So now I'm doing ultra and trail running for the last couple of years and trying to make it in the sport and
Trying to go pro again?
trying to go pro again. We'll see. I think I'm just having a lot of fun with the process right now. And just like you said, like doing high mileage, like I love racing, but also like just doing the miles is so fun. Like I've been hitting 100+ mile weeks, and going out on like a 20+ mile trail run is so fun for me.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's been a great time.
Oh yeah, well, looking forward to learning more about you and your journey, your training. It's gonna be a good chat, but let's get some miles in.
Hell yeah. Oh man, you got the ankle socks too.
I should have.
You'll be good once we're
Made
out
different
there though,
choices.
but
Walk me through like your running journey, because I'm curious to hear more about like your kind of pro days, and then you said you kind of got burnt out, which I think is something a lot of people have been through. So talk me through that portion of your like running career.
yeah, I mean, I started running when I was really young. Like my um, grammar school had a program in track, and so I just did that. And, I ended up doing a lot of like, for anyone familiar with like AAU or USATF, like they had like a lot of youth programming that I did growing up, which was really fun, and like middle school. And then I went to a pretty competitive high school for running. The team was really good, and that got me opportunities to run in college. Like I was really fortunate to go to schools and have access to teams and coaches and things that were able to set me up well down the line to compete at a high level. And honestly, I think just like the consistency over time, like by the time I was in college, I already had like, 10+ years of running under my belt, which is definitely an advantage in running, where consistency and quality of training over time like lends itself well to just being able to train at a higher level, handle a higher volume of work, and just keep turning out better results year after year. There's downsides to that too, where you could easily like burn out mentally or physically, but I think I just have the passion for it. I mean, when I was younger, I just always wanted to run races and always wanted to jump into a cross country meet or try new events on the track. And yeah, the journey took me all the way to a really awesome program at Syracuse University. Competed at D1 level. That was really cool. I struggled. I had my fair share of injuries and mental issues as well in college. It's a very high pressure um, world, D1 running. It's even harder today. I can't imagine being a D1 runner today, honestly, but it taught me so much. And by the time I was a junior, senior, and a fifth-year senior, I did a red shirt here. I was competing at a really good level where I was qualifying for the national championship in cross country, which is cool. We got 10th place. That was our first runner my last year, which was really special. And then afterwards, I was able to move to New York. I wasn't sure about what running was going to look like. Running obviously doesn't have like a very structured pro format with something like an NFL, NBA, MLB. So I ended up training on my own. My college coach was helping me out. I wanted to do the marathon. I always had the marathon in mind. Growing up, it was such a cool race. Like, I mean, the Olympics, like the marathon is such a quintessential, if not the quintessential event at the Olympic Games. It closes the Olympic Games every year. It's just like the essence and the spirit of the game. So that was always a focus for me. And um, I just hit training really hard. I was working full time, 9 to 5 in New York City, training in Central Park every day with a good group of guys, hitting workouts that I never thought I would be able to hit after college, and ran a 63-minute half marathon and qualified for the Olympic trials, which is really cool. And that opened a lot of doors for me. I was very passionate and felt like I had this chip on my shoulder at that time too. I wasn't a big name coming out of college. I had a fair amount of success, but it was something that I still felt like running was something you could put hard work into and still see the results, even if you weren't necessarily the top of the sport. And I was starting to finally break through after college and see those results come to fruition. And yeah, I got the Olympic trials time. Sadly, got hurt before the Olympic
Oh
trials,
man.
so I didn't get to run them. But running the time that I did in the half marathon allowed me to move to Minnesota, where there's a professional running team called Minnesota Distance Suites. That's based in Minneapolis and St. Paul. I was able to join their roster of about 15 athletes and train with a really successful marathon program. And I did that for about 2 years. And I would say, I put a lot of pressure on myself. I was still having a lot of fun with it, but when you're at that level where running's kind of more or less your job versus what you're kind of doing on the side of your other full-time job, it's you approach it a little differently. You're running a race and someone passes you in a race, and you're like, oh, that's like a month's rent for me of money if I don't finish a place higher. So it's definitely a little bit different of a mentality, and I think eventually that kind of wore me out. I had some good successful races in there at the pro level when I was running here for 2 years. I had a small contract at the time with Brooks, just gear and bonus money for running certain performance times or placing us at certain U.S. championship races. But yeah, I mean, it's a grind. Like it's a starving artist job. It's
Yeah.
very much like you're doing it for the love of it, but also like the pressure is really intense at that level, and you have to perform in order to keep the engine going and keep that going. And I ended up stopping after 2 years of doing it at that level, and I had no regrets stopping it. I was in the middle of a really good marathon block. Unfortunately, I needed to I needed to recalibrate and figure out, like, what does running look like for me in the future, because I want to be doing this for 50 more years if I can. And through when I'm 70, 80 years old, I still want to be jumping in races and having that love for it that I did growing up. So I think for me, like taking that time and stepping back from running in that way was really important. And I didn't touch running for 4 or 5 years after that. I would jump into marathons for fun and like off no training, which is stupid. And I don't recommend that at all.
Yeah.
But then I found ultra running, and now here I am. So 2, 3 years into ultra running, and it's a blast.
So yeah. So you kind of stepped away from running. You had to be what then, like 24, 25, or how old are
Yeah,
you?
I was 25 when I moved here, and so I stepped away from it when I was like 27 or so.
Gotcha.
Like 27, 28. It was like the end of 2017, early 2018, and yeah, I think I left the door open in case I wanted to go back to it in the near future at that time. But I think after a few months of not running, I realized like I think the mental break is good. Personally, I was going through a lot as well at the time. Um, so much of my identity was tied up in running. So it was like once you remove that, it was this opportunity for me to really learn about who I was outside of running. And I think that I needed that like multi-year break just to figure out who I was as a person outside of the sport.
Yeah. So when you started getting back into training more seriously, like what was it just like enough time had passed or was there something that made you want to like get back into it more seriously again?
Yeah, I was really lucky in high school. I had an awesome group of friends. I grew up in New Jersey, and I had an amazing group of friends that well, we trained together every day for 4 years in high school, and we were all different ages and stuff. And it worked out where we stayed really close throughout college. We stayed really close after college. A lot of us stayed in the New York City metro area right after college, so we stayed very close. And when I moved to Minnesota, we still stayed very close. And it was a special group of people. I can't really explain the connection and the camaraderie we all have, but um, we still like hang out together every Thanksgiving. We have like a huge event we do the Friday after, where it's like almost like a little mini like high school reunion, if you will, every year that we do. But one of my friends one day was like, "Oh, like we should try a 50K and just see what happens." And six of us, seven of us decided that we would sign up for this 50K in California in 2023, and it was just a blast. Like, I mean, we had so much fun. We did a weekend trip out of it. None of us knew what we were doing. It was absolutely miserable. Hated it every step after the first few miles, but got through it, learned a ton. And as much as we hated it afterwards, we were like, yeah, so like, when's the next one?
Yeah,
so,
totally.
to this day, like, I'm now trying to pursue this at a higher level, but I'm doing this still with my high school friends that I've been doing this with for 20 years at this point almost.
Yeah.
So it's pretty crazy. Like I'm running a really big race this coming weekend, and I'm trying to place really well in it and compete against really solid competition and guys that are really high up there in the sport. But I'm also doing it with two high school friends,
Yeah.
so that's going to be really cool. Like we all like honestly, the motivation for doing all these races is doing them together, and it's been fun to just travel to these places and do these races and compete in a cool way, but also at a high level, but also like do it with these friends that I've had for a long time. So
Yeah.
that's how I got really back into it. Honestly, it's just the friendships I had from high school.
N-
Yeah, it's
Now
been
that
fun.
you've gotten back into it with like, you know, more years and wisdom and all of that kind of stuff, like what would you go back and change like if you could be a young runner again, like to
Yeah,
do better or like I don't know, like how would you go about it second time around?
I think for me, like I got into running because I liked doing it. I was good at it, and I had a passion for it. And somewhere along the way, I started to give that up to other people. I think, you start running and competing and doing things because of what other people expect of you and what other people um, place on you as far as expectations go. So it's been rewarding now to come back into the sport through ultra running and do it because I love doing it and do it because I want to do it. And there's no one else forcing me to do this other than me wanting to do it and getting out there every day and grinding. And, I wake up now and I have, a 10-mile run and you have a blizzard like today.
Yeah.
And I love it. I like, there's nothing holding me back from doing it. If I don't want to run, I don't have to run. But
Yeah.
I just have this like passion for doing it now that I think I lost somewhere along the way, right up until I quit at the pro level. And I'm doing it for myself. And I think too, when I took a long break and took the time to really learn who I was outside of running, like that gave me a lot of clarity in why I do this.
Yeah.
And it's been cool to explore that through the ultra running because marathoning and road running and running on the track was really fun. And I learned a lot of that myself through some of those experiences in racing. But man, when you're 60, 70 miles into a 100-miler, like there's nothing, there's nothing that's going to teach you more about yourself than an experience like that.
Yeah.
So that's been really cool. And I think that's what gets me out the door now every day is just like seeing kind of what else can I do? Like
Yeah.
what, like, like I'm just I wish I could go back and tell myself like, there's more out there than just doing this for other people and doing this because you have to appease the sponsor. You have to like pay this bill and place this to win this prize money. And you got to do it because you love it and because you want to do it, and ultimately learn about yourself.
Yeah. Yeah, it's funny, like, trail running is definitely difficult and intense, but it's, like, feels lower pressure, lower stakes sometimes, and, like, running on the track, I remember even in high school, like, if I was off my PR by a second, you, like, feel bad about it versus trail running, you're out in the 50-mile like, running 50 miles in the woods, like,
Yeah, like
here's it's just putting in work.
yeah,
Yeah.
like I was running, I ran this really, really competitive 50K a month ago, and I trained really hardcore, and it was like a very serious atmosphere, and people were taking it very seriously. But like a mile into the race, the whole field is stopping at the front of the race to open and close a cattle gate.
Yeah.
It's just like stuff like that that's like so silly and fun. And trail running just has that kind of fun,
Yeah.
like childish, like youthful energy about it that I appreciate, and keeps it so unserious, but it's also serious at the same time. So
Yeah.
I appreciate that. Like, my first 100K, I was at the first aid station, and there's people cooking up like bacon and eggs and sausages. And it's like, that's the cool spirit of trail running. I think that I was missing a little bit with the roads and the track was, you can still take this very seriously, but have a good time, and like also
Yeah.
not take it seriously.
Yeah, yeah. I love that. Uh, so when you were running when you were younger, you were like, sponsored running to pay bills and that kind of stuff, and that puts a lot of pressure on a person. Versus like now, you have a full time job, you have income from like, you know, everyday person job, and now you're running just for fun. I could see that being like a pro and a con because I've heard people say like, oh, if I was a sponsored athlete and had all that time to train, like I could be that fit too. But then, like you said, I think you end up putting so much pressure on yourself because like your livelihood is dependent on it versus like for you, yeah, the time management might be tougher, but like you can stop running at any point.
Yeah.
You're like doing because you want to. But I'm curious like how you balance that like and just like work a job, like have other hobbies, have a social life, and run like very serious mileage. You're in like 120 miles last week, I think, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I did 2 weeks of 112 and 106, and, there's sacrifices you make when you're putting that much time into training. It's a part-time job, honestly. I think I spend, like, 15 hours a week just on my feet running, plus I'm doing 2 strength workouts a week, I'm doing mobility, I'm hopping in the Normatex when I can, I'm getting recovered, and I'm trying to get good sleep. But yeah, it's like it's all balance, right? I mean, the name of the game is finding what balance works for you. Some people like having a full-time job where all they have to do is focus on their sport, and that's great. I don't know if I'm necessarily that person, but I think that there's also trade-offs to working a full-time job and something that's really intense, and not necessarily giving yourself the opportunity to put in the time you need for training to compete at a level that you want to compete at. So for me, it's just finding whatever that balance is. And you can ask any of my friends, like I'm a very social person, and I enjoy going out and I enjoy having fun with friends, and there's a time and a place, and it's just kind of managing that. And, like
Yeah.
maybe there's, periods of time where I'm not going out and smashing a bunch of beers and whatever. But there are times when I do. And like, it's figuring out kind of like, what is that ideal structure look like? And it's so individualized for every person. And you got to do ultimately what is going to make you happiest, and whatever that structure is. Maybe there's trade-offs. Like maybe you're not training at 100%, you're training at 90%. But you know what? If like your level of happiness is at that 90% at its highest, like
Yeah.
then go with that. I mean, like, because I think like ultimately you're gonna perform best when you're mentally happiest, when you're physically feeling good, and
Yeah.
feeling like you can handle and balance it all. Like time management is such a crucial part of the game.
What percent are you at? I always think it's an interesting question because like I don't think many people are like truly training at 100%, and that's not a
Yeah.
bad thing. Like I think you should have some like reserve capacity, and you have other interests and pursuits. But like, where do you think that balance is for you?
I think right now I'm probably pretty close to 100 right now, I would say. I mean, it changes for me, I think, is my answer. It's like right now I'm at 100 because I'm really focused on trying to see where I can take this for myself. And I'm enjoying it and I'm loving pouring myself into the training and the process. But a few months ago, like I was probably at like 80%, or like over the winter, like earlier part of the winter, I was probably at like 70, 80%. And that was what was happy for me at the time. Like I came off of doing 200-mile attempts last year and like you need to take those breaks from
Yeah.
training and like mentally refresh a little bit. And um, it's important to like sometimes like different points you'll experience and want to have different levels of what that training intensity might look like. I
Yeah.
think for me right now it's really high, but in like April and May when I'm not focusing on a race until later in the year, I might dial that down a little bit and give myself the opportunity to enjoy some other things and find more balance, maybe through work or through other hobbies and activities that I'm doing outside of running. So
Yeah, yeah. I know you like climbing a lot. So you're spending a couple hours like doing rock climbing and stuff per week
yeah,
too. Tell me about just like what having some of those other hobbies and stuff like means to you. And do you think you sacrifice your running a little bit to be able to do that, or is it additive?
yeah, maybe. I think the climbing is awesome because I call it my hobby away from my hobbies. It's just a really great mental reset for me. I think what I enjoy so much about ultra running is it's a puzzle. It's problem solving at its core. Yeah, you're running and yeah, you're climbing a lot of mountains and hard terrain. But at the end of the day, like when you're 50 miles into your race and something goes wrong, you got to figure out on your feet how to fix it. And climbing in the same way is that it requires that same problem solving skill where you're taking a look at a problem on a wall, whether it's in bouldering or top rope or lead climbing, and saying, what's the most efficient way for me to get to the top? Or maybe you're halfway up the wall and a move that you thought you would need to make isn't necessarily a right move you should be making based on how you're feeling at that time. Like it requires that real time adjustment, which I really enjoy. And um, it's it's like an ability for me to express my creativity with my body in another way that's not running that I enjoy so much. Like I love being able to go on a run and think through a problem I might have coming up that day and how to troubleshoot it and solve for it. But and I enjoy like, the ability to problem solve in a race and figure out like, okay, like my hydration is not going so great. How do I fix that? But with climbing, it's such a cool opportunity to use my body in another way in a creative outlet and space. And I don't know, I just enjoy there's there's no wrong way to get to the end of a climb.
Yeah.
Like it's just, did you get to the end of the climb? It's
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
and however you get there, great. Like you got to the end. And like, so I think that whatever route you take in between the start and the finish of the climb, like that's where the fun is kind of unlocked and the creativity is unlocked. And so I enjoy that part of it too. And being able to just like figure it out as you go or work with other people to find data for a climb and get to the
Yeah.
and send the climb. Like it's really rewarding. I love the tangibility too of sending a climb. Like you can just like see the tangible progress along the way and you send a climb that's at this grade today, and then a couple months later you send a climb that's a little bit harder. Like it's just so rewarding, and that like adrenaline rush of being
Yeah.
able to like achieve something that was a little out of reach previously is just it feels so good. It
I
feels so
like
good.
having multiple things, like even if it's a side hobby, just to like have multiple avenues of life that I'm like progressing in. So like maybe my run workout didn't go super well that week, but like
Yeah,
you had a good climb in the gym or something. Just like I think it's good for your mental health
yeah,
too.
totally balances it out. I mean, I think for me, like I have good climbing days and bad climbing days, and they're pretty obvious. Like I know going into a bad climbing day, or if I start to have a bad climbing day, I know going into it like, okay, like maybe I'm not gonna climb at the grades I want to today, but I'm gonna salvage this and still make the most of it in the same way that I would for a running workout. Maybe I'm not hitting the paces I wanted to hit in a treadmill incline workout or a threshold workout outside or something, or the paces I want to hit in the long run, but I'm still gonna adjust in the moment and make the most of it and still feel like I got something out of today and I still got a little bit better than I was yesterday.
Yeah.
Even if it didn't go exactly how I wanted and I didn't get exactly what I wanted out of it, like I still got something out of it.
Yeah.
So
Your run training. I'm curious to learn more about like your approach. You work with a coach yourself, right?
I
So
do,
you
yeah.
follow someone else's programming. Um, what motivated you to like refer out? Because like you're a very experienced runner, and could certainly probably put together a good program for yourself.
Yeah.
But like, and I just started working with a coach myself too, so I get it. But I want to hear like your perspective on it.
Yeah, so shout out to Amanda Basham. She's been my coach for the last few years, and she's an amazing professional ultra runner, trail runner herself, based in Boulder, running for ultra. And I started ultra running in 2023 with my high school friends, suggesting that we do a race together, and realized after that experience, like I have a lot to learn, and I did a few more, and I still wasn't really getting it or figuring it out. And I thought, like, I'm such an experienced runner. Why don't I get this? And I think it took me a couple tries, trial and error experiences to realize like ultra running's its own sport. Like, and I have to respect it for that. It's not marathoning, it's not road running, it's not track, and I can't treat it like that. There's so many elements in ultra and trail that require specificity that I just didn't know a lot about. And so I know a lot about running, but I don't know much about the strength training required for ultra running and trail running. I don't know much about um, how to train for the incline and the climbing and the elevation gain that you do in ultra running. Man, like the elevation gain is a whole different ball game. Like you see so many road runners try to do trails and fail spectacularly because they think, oh, I run, so I can just come over and do it. But you might see like cyclists or Nordic skiers or athletes in other sports come over to trail running and have more success because maybe their skill sets are just more suited for it. And so you have to like almost start from square one again and figure out like what are the skills required and how do I train for it? Because it's not just running. It's a lot of different there's a lot of different factors in ultra and trail that I just didn't have experience with. So I did my first 100K in September 2024 and I did well and I was happy with it. And it was a lot of me figuring things out on my own. But ultimately I knew that because my lack of experience in the sport, like I just was leaving a lot of stones unturned. And I was fortunate to connect with Amanda through a mutual connection. Justin Grunwald, who was trained at the University of Minnesota and lived here for a long time. He's Amanda's partner. He connected me with Amanda, and it was really great from there because she's been able to expose a lot of different training stimuli to me that I had never considered before, honestly, with ultra and trail, and even all the reading and all the videos that I can watch on my own, like I still
Yeah.
wouldn't be able to tap into the wealth of knowledge that someone like she has. So having someone to really just like give you that accountability and take away some of the thinking as well for you and also give you the knowledge that you need to succeed that you may not be thinking about because we're all sometimes narrow-minded with how we think about things and think we need to do things a certain way. Like having someone to really check you on that stuff is important. And so I decided in the end of 2024, like, okay, like I want to give this a serious go. um, let's look into working with someone who can really help me in supporting chasing those dreams and getting to the level I want to be at. And
Yeah.
yeah, collaboration is so key with any sport you're doing, whether it's marathon, whether it's track, whether it's road running, whether it's ultra running, trail running, like it helps. Even if you're the most experienced runner in the sport or athlete in any sport, like you still can benefit from having someone to collaborate with and bounce ideas off of and tailor training for specific performances around.
Yeah.
It's all it's all good. I don't know. You can't ever go wrong, in my opinion, with
Yeah.
having a coach on your side.
For sure. And you're working towards obviously you got some big races coming up. You got one this weekend. Uh, are you chasing like being a pro again, like trying to get sponsorships? Like, what's kind of your vision with it right now?
Yeah, I think it would be nice to keep competing and improving and getting to a level where a professional contract could come my way. I don't know what that looks like right now, I guess. It's something I'm for sure like would love to achieve, but I think at the end of the day, like going back to what you're originally talking about, I'm just having a lot of fun with this, and I just want to keep making sure that I'm having fun with this and that I'm doing it for me. And um, I think ultimately, like racing and competing is something that I'm enjoying and loving doing. And I want to keep doing that. But I also am starting to realize that I want to do other things like more adventuring and exploration. And what does running and climbing together look like in nature and outdoors? And maybe looking at some longer stuff, even and FKTs, and doing some longer ultras beyond 100 miles. And I don't know, just like the excitement of the unknown is really driving me right now, I think. And in addition to competing at a high level. So while I want to definitely explore and chase professional dreams in ultra trail, I also want to continue to do things that are lighting my fire.
Yeah.
And if that's doing a 200 plus mile race or a backyard ultra or climbing a bunch of 14ers in Colorado and trying to set a fastest known time somewhere, like that's what I want to chase. I'm going to lean into kind of what's fueling me at the time. So
Yeah. Yeah, it sounds like very go with the flow as far as your
yeah,
goals
yeah,
go.
very go with the
Um,
flow.
do you have any like really concrete, like I want to, get back to a certain marathon time, anything like that, or is it just kind of whatever is giving you energy in the moment?
Yeah, kind of whatever is giving me energy in the moment. But I will say, like, I mean, the marathon's always been in the back of my mind. It's something I want to do and maybe take seriously again one day for fun. There's been a lot of trail runners lately that have jumped down to the marathon. It's funny to say jump down to the marathon when marathon in and of itself is long and a huge accomplishment. But yeah, I don't know. I think eventually one day I might get the um, energy and the passion to do a marathon at a very serious level again and train for it. People have asked me if I want to do the Olympic trials one day in the marathon, and I gotta say, like 2:16 is a very respectable time in the marathon, and I'd love to be able to chase it maybe one day. But I want to make sure if I'm going to do something like that, that I have the passion and drive for it versus kind of forcing a square peg in a round hole and making myself go through
Yeah.
the really arduous training and surgical training the marathon requires to run a time like that.
Yeah.
So
I mean, you were in like 63 for half is crazy fast. Like, how far off of that fitness level are you? Or is it just like very different fitness?
yeah, it's like a different fitness. I feel like I always tell people like I don't think I could run a 63-minute half right now or come close to it, but I feel like I'm in better shape than I ever have been before. And it's maybe just in how I feel every day. I feel like mentally, physically, I just feel so good every day. And more as a person, just like more confident, more motivated than I ever have been before. I'm in a very like good headspace with it. And like for all those reasons, I feel like I'm in the best fitness of my life. And maybe that doesn't mean um, I don't think that means I can run a 63-minute half marathon, but I think like just overall, like just like I'm in a much better place holistically, and like my fitness as a whole is just like
Yeah.
way way more advanced than it has been before.
Yeah.
I've loved adding in things like strength training and climbing, and um, it's crazy that I can go and do now like 2 marathons back to back in training on a weekend and training and feel great the next day. So it's just like such a good feeling, and the fact that I'm even motivated to do that too
Yeah.
is really rewarding and cool. So
Do you have any advice for people that like also, full-time job, they want to train more? Like hearing someone like you train 15 plus hours a week, it sounds very out of reach for a lot of people. But just like move in that direction, like any advice you have for balancing just like a full life against such a demanding training schedule?
Yeah, I mean, I think you can make time for anything that you want to do that badly. If you want to train at a high level in the marathon, or at any level in the marathon, or at any level for an ultra or a trail event, or for any fitness endeavor, like, you can make time for it, and it requires sacrifice. Like I said, I think, you have to find that right balance for you. And but yeah, if it's something you want bad enough, you'll make time for it, and it just requires you maybe making some sacrifices elsewhere. It's can be challenging for me, for example, with the full-time job. I'm extremely lucky. I work in an industry that um, and at a company in the industry that allows me to be a little bit more flexible with my work schedule, and being in the office and having a few days where I can work remote. That remote flexibility gives me some more time back to be able to pursue running at a higher level. I'm lucky. I also work at a company that will allow me to take training trips every once in a while when I'm training for a hard race and I feel motivated to really pursue something at a high level. So I don't know. I encourage anyone that wants to just pursue something that requires a lot of time, like an ultra or marathon, to just um, don't be afraid to make those sacrifices. Don't be afraid to have hard conversations with people if you're really passionate about something, about um, adjusting schedule, whether that be work or personal things, social life. I think those are all really things you have to look at if you're trying to prioritize fitness endeavors that
Yeah.
require a lot of time.
Well, it's been cool to watch your progress. I know, like, even a couple of years ago, I was like racing against you at some local races here in Minneapolis, and I'd be like a couple minutes behind you, and I'd be like, all right, next year I'm gonna try to keep up with Rob, and I'd come back and I'd be fitter, but then you were like way fitter. And I was like, shit, and it was like just trying to. I've been getting fitter alongside you, but you're just like still quite a bit ahead. But it's been really cool and inspiring to watch.
That's
Um,
man.
like watching your Western states. Really killer, like Javelina 100 performance this year. What's the race that you have coming up this weekend?
Yeah, so I'm doing a race called the Big Alta 100K. It's in Marin County, California, just north of San Francisco. It's the first year they're doing 100K at this race. The 50K has attracted a number of top level athletes in the past. So the 100K is also going to be attracting some high level athletes, and it's a really hilly course. It's gaining about 13,000 feet over 62 miles.
It's a
So
lot.
a lot of climbing, a lot of descending. But yeah, I'm just really excited to give myself another opportunity to prove to myself what kind of fitness I'm in, what kind of shape I'm in. I know I'm in good fitness and shape based on the training I've been doing, and I'd love to just like put it together in a performance that I can be proud of. So that's the goal this weekend. Would love to be on podium of that race and up in the front, and competing at the front of the race. But we'll see how it goes. I'm going to run my own race and just have a good time with it. And when I'm in a lot of pain, I'm going to look up and I'm going to see the ocean. So,
Yeah.
it's like, it's really cool to be able to do a sport where you're um, putting yourself in a place of pain and suffering, but also in a place that's really gorgeous and beautiful at the same time. And
Yeah.
helps you when you're in a really dark time to pick your head up and just take in what's around you. That's like breathtaking.
Yeah.
So,
That's my favorite part of trail and ultra running. And I think I'm training for a sub 230 like road marathon right now, but I think long term I see myself getting back into more like trail ultras and just like
yeah,
getting
do
out in
it,
the woods. It's
man.
a lot of fun.
I am like your best and worst friend when it comes to trying to convince you to come back to Trail and Ultra, because I will be successful.
Yeah.
Sales.
Yeah, I love it. It's so great. Well, good luck this weekend. I'm gonna be following along. Where can the people follow along with you online?
Yeah, Rob Molke is my Instagram. No spaces or anything, just straight Rob Molke. I do have a Substack as well, robmolke.substack.com. Hoping to write a lot more this year on there. And yeah, I mean, I'm just Big Alta. You can follow me online on their tracking. I'm going to be doing Javelina later again this year as well. So look out for me there. That's going to be my next big race. And yeah, I'm like running a lot of local stuff as well in the meantime. The trail and ultra community here and the bouldering project, with the bouldering project with ultra and trail running, is really cool. So I'll be around. I love the community here and the people that are in that world and space here. So yeah, um, follow me locally,
Nice,
I
dude.
guess.
Are
Too.
you
Yeah.
gonna do any of the local races? Like the
Yeah.
okay. I
So
might
I'm,
might come back and try to race you.
yeah, do it, man. Do it. Taco Bell 50K at the end of May.
No way.
So.
All right. I'll keep it in mind. Well, sick, dude. Good luck and thanks for chatting today.
Sweet. Thanks, boss.